you're so focused on the words and so focused on trying to like get the message, you kind of miss the message. Day 2 of a 4-day schedule. Yesterday it was from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 midnight. That's like 12, 16 hours. Today is like 11 a.m. to midnight, so that's like 12, 13 hours. Today is day 2. Today we had pre-calculus, we had physics 1 lab. It was good. Got out of the lab early. It's 3 o'clock. I don't gotta be to work until 4 o'clock. So I got an hour to kill. Right here in front of me, I got the Plato, The Republic of Plato by Alan Bloom. This is a reverb. This is when it's by another author, it's somebody that read the book and has something to say about it, which is different. So, name some philosophers: Plato, Socrates, and Dostoevsky. Women. That is a clip that I was saying. This is Plato's The Laws. I'm not even reading I'm not reading Plato right now. I'm just really not into politics that hard. This is my thought process, right? When you first start reading a book, like when you first start reading, like my first book that I've read is The Prince. And when you first start reading, and then the second book I'll read is Notes from the Underground by Dostoevsky, and then the third one is The Double by Dostoevsky. Only because those books come together like this book. Like this book is The Prince and the Discourses by Niccolo Machiavelli. And if I would have read this one, then I would have read 2 more books. But my point is that when you first start reading a book, it's like hard to understand. Like when you first start reading, it's not as enjoyable. Like you can't really like, because it's like you so focused on the words and focused on trying to, you so focused on the words and so focused on trying to like get the message, you kind of miss the message. It's not as enjoyable. Like you get certain things, but sometimes you don't get everything. It's not as enjoyable as a if you was well versed. So The Prince, my first book, my first book into the reading world, it was, to me, it was like like online people talk a lot. People talk about like when you wanna learn about, The Prince was a book about this kind of how I got it. The Prince was a book that The Prince was a book that was surrounded by, The Prince was a book that was written by, how I understand it, it was like, all right, so when you pick up certain books like the 48 Laws of Power, The Prince, books like that, these books are based on getting power, obtaining power, keeping it, having it. It's about power. And The Prince to me was more about principalities than it was. I know I'm saying it and I'm like, all right, that's not my own words, because in the back of the book downstairs, like I showed a book earlier, the back of the book downstairs, he tell like of principalities, on principalities. That's what he wrote the book on principalities. So I'm about to tell y'all that's what I think the book was about. It really wasn't about it really wasn't about learning about power and being like learning about power and saying this. It was about reading the stories and understanding like this really ain't the best way to go. Understanding like it's not, reading the stories and understanding like on principalities, on principle, this is what happened, this is what took place, this is how these kingdoms came about and how they felt, on principality. For me, I'm not really into this, and I'm writing it to a prince, and if he needs to read this and do and go about gaining power in this way, then he will be he will be he will be not one of the greats. He will be not so high, and he will be not so high, and he will be not so high. That's how I understood it. I got the name tatted on me, right down on my forearm. I got Machiavelli tatted on me, and I was a little bit upset because I thought, like, at first I think I might have picked up the book. I got this tattoo done probably like either last year or 2 years ago, and I picked up the book, and I was like, damn, I'm reading about somebody. I mean, I got somebody name tatted on me that was kind of deceit and not really of principality, but this guy is of principality. This guy is not talked about enough. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna say my first book into my first read into the book world, into knowing that I'm about to start to read a bunch of books. My first book into the book world, The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. It was a good book. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It took me a long time to understand that the book was based when it say a lot, like in the book it talks about kingdoms and princes and stuff like that, and you would think like it's talking about kingdoms and princes and princesses, but it's talking about it's not like Queen Elizabeth, who is like a it's not like that. It's about like people who gain power, gain these titles like the prince and I'm losing thought, but it's like the people who gain these titles gain them from killing another person or taking over a a society or taking over an environment. And during that time, that's what a prince was, or that's what a what a what a what a what a what am I trying to say? That's what a prince was, or that's what a kingdom was, or that's what somebody who ruled did. They went in there, they took over a place where people lived, and they made the people scared. They made the people they took over a place where people lived, and the people they kind of like the people kind of like were so scared that they allowed the person who came in and took over to rule over them and stuff and etc etc etc. I'm done philosophizing for right now. I thought the book was good. It took me a long time to learn that. It took me a long time to learn it, but in the end I did learn it, and I was able to look at it and see like to look at it and understand what the author was talking about. I was able to understand the times that they had going on, how brutal it was down there. And then at the end they included the letter of when of Niccolo Machiavelli, because none of these stories have him inside the story. Like he is in none of the stories. He is not a person who ruled or did anything according to, or not. I don't know that for sure, but he don't say nothing about himself in here. And then they included a letter in the book that's downstairs. They included a letter that was to a magnificence, that was to somebody, and he was telling about his day. And his day was kind of regular. He was going somewhere where they was chopping wood. Like he would go and he would eat. His day was like regular. Like he was like a regular person compared. Oh, nothing. In a letter, he say where he got the stories from. It was always my question of how he learned, or how he came about all these stories. It was always a question of mine, like, how do you know this is what's going on, and how do I know that this stuff is not being made up? He sat down and he listened to different people speak. He sat down and he listened, and he understood things by sitting there and hearing stories, and he wrote about the stories, and he called it De Principales, De Principales, on principles, on principalities, something like that. And that's where the prince came from. 1 out of 10. It's my first book in. I'm gonna give it a 10. My first book in. I don't know no better. I'm gonna give it a 10. I liked it. I would read it a second time. I learned knowledge. I liked it. I learned knowledge from it. I learned something from it. And I respected the message. 10 out of 10.
Walmart and Dan Club Radio. I tried to tell him that's not a normal thing. We don't. Do you like our new 163.96.
All right, I got Last time I had a bike, somebody stole it. Here in Texas. This is my second bike in Texas. And the first one I left at my job for a while, and then when I went back to go get it, it was gone. Somebody stole it. Niggas done stole my bike. Might need to be washed a little bit. I will wipe it off a little bit later. Niggas done stole my bike.